Have you ever heard of a city that died overnight? A catastrophe so devastating the government tried to erase it from history. Imagine an entire region vanishing from maps, its people poisoned by an invisible killer, while the world remained clueless for decades. This isn't a thriller movie plot. It's the true story of the 1957 Kyshtym disaster, a nuclear nightmare the Soviet Union desperately tried to hide. Deep in the Ural Mountains, hidden from the world, was a secret city called Chelyabinsk 40. It didn't exist on any map. This was the home of the Mayak plutonium plant, the heart of the USSR's atomic arsenal during the height of the Cold War. Built in a frantic rush after World War II, Mayak churned out weapons-grade material at a reckless pace. Workers were sworn to secrecy, living in barracks completely unaware that the ground beneath them was becoming saturated with deadly radioactive poison. Highly radioactive liquid waste, full of killers like strontium-90 and cesium-137, was pumped into underground concrete tanks. These tanks were supposed to cool for years, but production quotas and the race against America meant corners were cut, turning a containment plan into a ticking time bomb. By 1957, one of these tanks, Tank 14, was in critical condition. Its cooling system had failed. For months, the temperature inside soared, boiling the 80 tons of volatile nuclear waste into a pressurized inferno. Engineers noted the alarming readings, but in the Soviet system, raising an alarm was far riskier than ignoring one. Then, on September 29th, at 4:20 p.m., the inevitable happened. A massive chemical explosion, as powerful as 100 tons of TNT, blew the tank's 160-ton concrete lid into the air. A shimmering orange-red plume of radioactive dust shot a kilometer high into the sky. This was no ordinary explosion. It spewed 20 million curies of radiation into the atmosphere. That's about 2/5 of the total release from the Chernobyl disaster. The winds carried this deadly cloud over 300 miles, blanketing an area of 9,000 square miles in what became known as the East Ural radioactive trace. This contaminated zone was larger than some American states. Radioactive particles rained down, contaminating soil, forests, and rivers. Strontium-90, which the body mistakes for calcium, settled into the bones of people and animals. Cesium-137, mimicking potassium, ravaged internal organs. A breadbasket region was turned into a radioactive nut. In the immediate aftermath, chaos and secrecy reigned. Conscripted soldiers and prisoners, known as liquidators, were rushed in with no protective gear to clean up the lethal debris. Eyewitnesses reported a bizarre glowing orange sky, but the local newspapers claimed it was just a rare aurora borealis. Within days, hospitals were secretly overwhelmed with victims of acute radiation syndrome. Their skin peeled off, their hair fell out in clumps, and they suffered from internal bleeding. Children, oblivious to the danger, played in the contaminated snow. Villagers harvested glowing crops, unknowingly feeding their families poison. The evacuations were a slow, clandestine operation. The first 10,000 people from the hardest-hit villages were loaded onto trucks in the middle of the night, forced to abandon their homes and all their possessions. For others further downwind, it took nearly 2 years before they were moved. The Kremlin secretly mapped the contamination but told the world nothing. Over 250,000 people were exposed to dangerously high levels of radiation. Entire herds of cattle died, wildlife suffered grotesque mutations, and there was a devastating spike in miscarriages and cancers, especially leukemia in children. Yet official death certificates were falsified, listing causes like heart failure. The cover-up was absolute. The disaster was named after Kyshtym, a nearby town, to mislead anyone who heard whispers. The real location, Chelyabinsk 40, remained a ghost city. The KGB silenced anyone who spoke out. Even the United States, which detected the event with its spy planes, kept the information classified, fearing it would create panic about their own nuclear programs. The truth only began to trickle out in 1976 thanks to a dissident Soviet scientist. It wasn't until the late 1980s, under Gorbachev's policy of glasnost, that the Soviet Union finally admitted the disaster had occurred. The legacy of Kyshtym is terrifying and locked. The nearby Lake Karachay, which Mayak used as an open dumping ground for nuclear waste, became known as the most radioactive spot on Earth. Today, the city of Ozyorsk, formerly Chelyabinsk 40, is still a thriving nuclear hub, but the surrounding areas remain dangerously contaminated. Mutated forests stand as silent monuments to the catastrophe, and birth defect rates are still alarmingly high. The Kyshtym disaster, the world's third worst nuclear incident after Chernobyl and Fukushima, wasn't caused by a reactor meltdown, but by sheer negligence in handling waste. It serves as a chilling reminder that when governments prioritize secrecy over safety, the consequences can be apocalyptic. It forces us to ask what other hidden dangers are simmering in secretive facilities around the world today. Thanks for watching, and if you found this story important, please like and subscribe for more hidden histories.